All right, let's get started. Welcome to our live stream. Today is Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. My name is Pam, and I'm a wellness specialist and Psych-K practitioner at the New Biology Clinic. It's my pleasure to be with all of you today while Tom takes some time off to enjoy the summer. Please put your questions in the chat, and I'll try to address them at the end of my talk. Today, I will be talking about working with our subconscious, the power that lies in this, and how to become the person you've always wanted to be. So let's get started. I am a retired psychiatrist, and the brain and the mind have been something I've been pondering for many decades, and the subconscious has always been a point of intrigue for me. Understanding that we can tap into our subconscious and shift our lives ourselves, I believe, is the key to healing and thriving at the deepest level possible. The new biology philosophy asks us to look into this deep level of understanding to figure out the root cause of our issues when we're looking to heal something. We all already know somewhere deep within us lies the cause of what ails us at the subconscious level, not at the conscious level. We're just often unaware of this. And to shift into true healing, you want to tap into your subconscious and actively choose to incorporate the changes that you want to make in your own mind and body. So I'll give you a little bit of background about how I got started down this path with the subconscious. Many, many years ago, I listened to a lecture called The Biology of Belief, actually twice in a row, by Bruce Lipton. The Biology of Belief now is a best-selling book, and if you haven't read it, I really encourage you to do so. It's a great book, a great story. Bruce Lipton was a tenured medical school professor at the University of Wisconsin, and he was doing research, and what he learned and proved in his lab was that cells that have already differentiated into a specific line could be shifted to another line of cells, a different kind, just by changing the medium they were in. This changed the dogma of what they were teaching at the medical school. And he was excited and went to the faculty, and he got fired because you can't change the dogma, right? So it's a great story. But for me, it opened up the possibility that what we've been taught as doctors might not actually be true. And it also opened up a possibility that not only are many, if not all the things we believe untrue, but that we can actually play an active role in what is true in our lives, our bodies, and our experiences. And at this point, through my own life experiences, I would even say what we believe will become true for us, both physically within us and around us, especially on what we call the cellular level. And when people get sick, it's really understandable. They often get caught in fear most of the time around their symptoms or a diagnosis they received. After all, fear is literally what's programmed into the collective every day in every facet of our world. So the tendency for them is usually to focus on things they can do outside of themselves to heal. And that makes sense. As Tom often talks about, many people ask, what can I take or what can I put on this? And these modalities can be helpful for symptoms. However, if somebody doubts that their body can actually heal itself, or they don't love themselves, the root cause of any physical problem cannot truly be addressed, and complete healing is going to be out of reach. So let's dig a little deeper. What is a symptom? Why would our body make a symptom? A symptom is a message shown to the conscious part of a person to reflect to them what is going on in their subconscious. So to heal physical symptoms, the message has to be heard and addressed by the person. If the message the body is sending goes unheard, not only will the symptoms persist, but they'll probably escalate, right? Think about what happens when we speak with someone. If we don't think they hear us, we might speak louder, we'll repeat ourselves. So your body's no different. It's trying to communicate. And our bodies want us to hear them, not erase or gloss over the message being sent. These symptoms are literally programmed into the subconscious. So doesn't it make sense that if you change what's in the subconscious, the physical body and the messages from that body also have to shift? Let's start with some wise words that I was reminded of during my first PSYCH-K training from Gandhi, which I think shows us the wisdom that we all possess. Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. To me, it's pretty clear Gandhi was referring to the subconscious. You can also see this in Hermetic philosophy. Here's a quote straight from Hermetic philosophy: as within, so without, as above, so below, as the universe, so the soul. And you'll see lots of these things in lots of traditions, giving us a hint as to how we gain control. And if we want to have an effect on the greater world at large, it starts within each and every one of us. So what is the subconscious? We often hear people refer to this as the subconscious mind. The mind is not your brain. Not really sure what the mind is. This is controversial. Probably could do a whole other talk on that, right? But the subconscious, whatever it is connected to, I do think it has to do with our brains in a developmental way. You can tell with brain waves when kids are smaller versus when they're adults. So, this line of thinking was created based on cognitive development. So let's kind of go with that for now, because it helps put the construct together. So the subconscious mind programs everyone's physiology and is the source of everyone's repetitive habits and behaviors. And it was a recording created a long time ago when you were babies and children, or maybe a traumatized teen or adult experience here and there had a say. And it operates below our conscious awareness. And it is literally programming. We have been programmed. And we don't get a say in it as an adult, how we were programmed, unless we realize now, like we're talking about here, that we can change this programming. So that is amazing. The subconscious is said to develop, again, based on cognitive development, between 6 months in utero and 6 years of age. And again, sprinkle in sometimes a trauma here and there. So imagine this. All right, I do think this is probably close to the truth. Hard to know what true really is, but think about this. At best, unless you're already working on changing your programming, at best, a 6-year-old or traumatized teen or adult is making all your decisions for you. So why is this so important? Everyone has an energetic essence that is the true self, the true amazing self. Your body is not who you are. This includes your brain. Now remember, Western medicine likes to compartmentalize, and so we'll send you to a brain doctor and a kidney doctor and act like none of the things are attached. Your brain is actually attached to your body. Your head doesn't float off by itself in space. So we're talking about the whole package. So your body is a brilliant machine that has the capacity to heal itself, self-regulate, and do wonderful things. Now, I know what I'm going to speak about sounds a little bit unromantic, but here's the thing. People are programmed much like a computer is programmed. It's really important to see this and to not be offended by it. I know we all feel special, we have an ego, but when you figure out how it works, you have some locus of control available to you. This doesn't make us any less special or sacred. But in order to live to your beautiful potential, the key is to change the childhood programming. So, what is this thing called your mind? What's it doing? It's like software. And like any software program, when it becomes outdated, you may want to upgrade it. I recommend that you upgrade it yourself. And we'll talk about this later when we talk about PSYCH-K as one of the modalities you could use to do that. But remember this, because we're being controlled all the time and programmed all the time, right? So as far as I can see, we can't get around this. Like something programs us. So I recommend that you take control and program yourself. You can do this with many different modalities. You can use hypnotherapy or meditation or PSYCH-K like we're going to talk about. But remember, negative modalities are also shaping us. So the TV, the internet, etc. There is a really great documentary on YouTube that you can watch called Planet Mind Control by Jason Christoff. Not sitting here plugging the whole thing, but I really enjoy and appreciate the first like 20 minutes or so of this because he does a really good job of showing you how easily we are programmed through like very mainstream society. So really good watch and such a profound experience for me because it really showed concretely all that we're talking about here. So do you actually know what you are thinking? And are you aware of your beliefs on the deepest level? Because I definitely thought I was for a long time. But, you know, as you learn, oh, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not serving myself. Do you believe your thoughts? Most people do, but I wouldn't until you've reprogrammed them to your own specifications that were well thought out. Have you ever thought about the source of what your thoughts may be? Where'd they come from? Probably a mix of some old programming and habits, the media. It's probably floating around in the airways, things we're unaware of. It's important to recognize that there are many sources of information being filtered through our brains every day. Many of these we're aware of, but many of these we're unaware of. And it's all in your subconscious programming. Again, remember, this is a literal recording that got programmed during development between when you were in your mother's womb and about 6 years of age, sprinkled in with some trauma there. Another interesting point that I learned along the way was about our gut feelings. So your gut feelings are supremely important because it connects you to the supraconscious, which is like all-knowing wisdom, right? But be careful because when you have a gut feeling, right, it may not necessarily be the answer you're looking for. It could even be part of a problem because if that gut feeling was paired with the development of the subconscious, it could mislead you. But your gut does have supreme validity. So the superconscious, like I said, the source of all knowing, communicates with us through this. And a lot of us know this as like our third chakra. Part of reprogramming yourself, though, and this is easy to do, is to kind of set it up so you're able to distinguish between that was a gut feeling from my old programming and this is my supreme gut feeling. Sometimes just an awareness that there's a difference between these two feelings allows you to literally start being able to feel that difference. So some people also just truly can distinguish their true gut feelings. In fact, I think everyone can. And when it's really important, they're able to hear it. Like they might feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I should pull over off this road right now. And they might just miss an accident, right? And again, if you don't listen to it, it's not that it's not there. You just don't trust it. You may not recognize it, but it's in all of us. And you can reprogram your subconscious to trust yourself, which I recommend doing. Remember, you are more powerful than you know. And from what I can see in my 50 plus years here on planet Earth, what you believe will always become true for you. And you will see this reflected back in your own reality. What you believe is accurately reflected back and validates your own beliefs. Remember that. Because here's the thing. People who believe the opposite of what you believe will also see their beliefs accurately reflected back in their reality as truth and validate it. Confusing, right? We're all living in different realities. Very important to remember. So before you go telling everyone that you're right, they're wrong, just remember that. Because part of the programming today, the larger programming, that collective programming, is division and lack of respect for others. So I'm not saying don't say anything or say anything, use discretion, but remember, even when, and believe me, we all experience this every day. Like if you are presented with a reality that is different from yours, it may be hard to believe, but that reality gets validated back to that person too. So when you're using all of this power we're describing, just remember that. Because we can affect the larger collective, and we'll talk about that. So how does what you think and speak affect you in real time? What are your literal words manifesting in your life? Because words are powerful. The more you use a word, the more frequently the things you voice will appear in the world. So, is this something you want to be more aware of? Is this a tool you want to use to improve your life and your health? You're probably saying, what can I do? So start with slowing down. Observe your thoughts and your words. Witness yourself as if you're listening to someone else without judgment, as if it's not you. And I'm already hearing in my head people going, I can't slow down. My life won't allow it. Got it, except for it's a false belief. It will shift things in your life, but isn't that the point? Right? If we don't change anything, nothing will change. As within, so without, right? So to change the life that you're living that won't allow for positive change or self-care, you will need to give yourself real permission on a deep level to slow down and make changes. What words are you thinking and saying often? Have you ever even thought about this? Are your words creating the life and health that you would choose if you were aware that you had a choice? I really encourage you to have fun with this because, again, we're all programmed. So we're programmed about like guilt and, oh my gosh, I've created all the struggles and the suffering in my own life. But this isn't mainstream information, and it's, relatively easy information to work with once you know it. When we know better, we do better. So have fun, because really giving yourself grace, love, fun, this is going to make this process flow much more easily and be really, really a good experience. And as someone I love and respect once said to me, that stuck with me for decades, is be curious, not furious. So there's that wisdom. All right, let's talk a little bit about language to change our perspective. Use expansive language. Expansive language creates positive experiences. Example of an expansive statement is, I am healthy and I have so much love in my life. If I've hurt my ankle, I can say my ankle is healing. Contractive language creates negative experience, and it's what we know as victim verbiage, right? So going back to my ankle being hurt, I can just say instead, oh, my ankle's broken and hurts. That's contractive. And the collective language also matters, because the more of us that use expansive language, the more powerfully the collective energy field we all live in and share changes for the better. Again, I'm just going to remind you, this isn't easy. I'm probably making it sound super easy. Give yourself grace. Have fun with this. Learn to laugh at your thoughts. My greatest source of amusement every day are the things that pop into my own head. Can't take these things seriously all the time, or for me, most of the time. Have compassion for yourself. Make this a fun ride. All right. Are we, through these modalities I'm talking about, creating our own illnesses? A Dr. Claude Saba once said, and this really I felt was so profoundly true. He said, quote, "The perfect solution to solve the fear of getting some illness is to get that illness," unquote. I agree. That's what your body's going to do. Oh, she ordered a heart attack? Check. Remember, you are powerful. Most illnesses or symptoms are actually created through fear, through our thoughts and our words. Remember, Western medicine has collectively programmed into people that the body cannot heal itself. This is untrue, and I encourage you to change that belief. For those of you that don't know me, which is most of you, 11 years ago, I got very, very sick. And as I went through this whole healing process, by the way, I left the hospital against medical advice and never went back. But as I went through this whole journey, I realized I had cast a spell. I could literally recall saying to my husband at the time, about a year before I'd gotten so sick, that if things around here don't change, I'm going to get very sick. That's a quote from myself. Boy, I'm super powerful, right? Wow. And this is why we all must choose to stop being victims and stop holding on to the diagnoses that someone may have given us at some point along our journey. Because if you hold on to it in your mind, in your heart, in your energy field, you're going to vibe with it and you will feed it or create it if you fear it. Here's some fun. I like to have fun with words. So if you break down the meaning of the word diagnosis, it literally means to die without knowing or knowledge. Cool, right? So to embrace a diagnosis, you're going to program your subconscious that you would like to die without knowing or the knowledge of why you were sick, about the truth, about what's going on, right? So think about it. Is that what you want for yourself? Did you intend to do that? Diagnoses keep us bound to the energy of dis-ease. Remember, dis and ease, the opposite of ease. So to the dis-ease we were told we had, which prevents us from resonating with health, because health resonates with ease. It's all right there. I just find it so cool. So do not cast spells that you did not intend to cast. Labeling a symptom is just like casting a spell or a curse in your subconscious. Remember, you are powerful. What you expect to show up in your reality will show up eventually. It always does. So instead, I think it's smart to shift your thinking and embrace how powerfully we are designed. It's pretty cool. And again, fun. Make this fun. Fun is a supremely healing energy. And let's just remind ourselves of the bigger picture here. Please remember, we're currently living in what I love to call upside down and backwards world. So what do I mean by this? We're living in a time where pretty much everything mainstream, as far as I can see, is 180 degrees from the truth. It's the exact opposite. So you can have a lot of fun with this. Everyone can try to go, well, why, and this, and you can talk about the broken world to your friends, but what are you reinforcing in your subconscious and in the collective? Have fun with it. So let's say you inherit a bunch of money and you have no idea about finances and you don't know what to do with it. I want you to Google it. Yes, Google it. Take your top 5 hits and do the exact opposite of what comes up, and you are going to do really, really well. So have fun with this. Also, we have to ask ourselves, what are we being complicit with? I truly believe part of our locus of power lies in the collective ability to realize that nothing is happening here without our agreement. And we don't know we're agreeing, but it's a form of agreement. And I don't really think we mean to agree oftentimes to the things we're agreeing to. We're just unaware of its place in the bigger picture. So remember, before I move on, play with your words. It's always super fun. Dis-ease, diagnosis, to die without knowing or knowledge. Here's one that's completely unrelated, but that cracks me up every time. Think about the phrase falling in love. What are you falling into? Like some sort of like pit? I don't know. Food for thought. Anyway, why does this matter? All this subconscious stuff. Because when we believe we have the power to shift things here in our reality, they will shift. And this will help individually and on a collective level. All right, so now let's go to PSYCH-K. We've talked about the subconscious, the PSYCH-K stuff. For those of you who've heard about it, it's a great tool to shift your subconscious. Remember, there are other modalities that do this very well. When I was sick, I used meditation, but it took many hours a day, usually 1 to 2 hours, and I did it for years. And that's pretty time consuming. It worked and it works. And at the time, I remember I'd also looked into PSYCH-K. I'd gone to a conference hearing Bruce Lipton, again, who I spoke about before, speaking. And he said that PSYCH-K changed his life from one of suffering to one of bliss. And I was like, ooh, sign me up for that. But as I looked into it, I was like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. And now I can say, because it's so simplified that it's hard to describe unless you experience it. So I'm going to do my best here, but it's a really effective tool. It's fast, it's easy, and it lasts. So PSYCH-K, this process, it's an energy healing, programs your personal reality construct, which includes your physiology and your emotional well-being. And these are the things at the crux of our quality of life, which to me is the only thing that matters. Your frequency attunes to your beliefs and creates the world you experience as you ordered it. Literally, like a restaurant. Be careful what you order. So in the past, if you've tried to make changes and are feeling stuck and you're feeling frustrated, you've been working with your conscious brain. Remember, that's that tiny little part that may light up here and there on one side of the brain or the other. And we're going to change that. PSYCH-K is a great tool to access your subconscious, which is using your entire brain to start to shift all of this for you. Now, remember, when I say brain, mind, energy out in the ether, I don't know how it all works. I just know that the brain is some kind of computer and it's doing something. So, but we know what it's doing and how to access the power. So that's why I'm focusing on this. So what is PSYCH-K? PSYCH-K bridges the supraconscious mind, that's S-U-P-R-A, with the subconscious mind. And the supraconscious mind is what many of us know as spirit, higher self, the source of connection with creation, like your power source. PSYCH-K uses muscle testing to access this supraconscious mind and to guide the subconscious mind in the intended changes set out in a PSYCH-K session. And the process that we use in PSYCH-K engages something called the whole brain state. And this allows access to your full brain potential, which we rarely have access to. And the whole brain state synchronizes both sides of the brain. And this, because we're using the whole brain versus tiny little specks of it, and in a balanced way, both sides of the brain, it allows enhanced learning that eliminates barriers to changing our self-limiting beliefs that were recorded when we were tiny or during trauma. When a person's in stress mode, they can't access this full potential to this whole balanced brain. Stress situations cause people to over-identify with the left brain, which is intellectual, or the right brain, emotional, and this causes an energetic imbalance. And so in PSYCH-K, actually the things we do, we call them brain balances, and these processes allow access to both sides of the brain at the same time and generates a balanced, calm state. And in Psych-K, we always ask, how do you want to feel, right? And I encourage you, if you take an exploration in this, think about your quality of life and think about vitality, because these are the things that really, really matter. All right, so quickly, just to sum it up before we do some questions, make the powers that be the powers that were. Put what you don't like in the past and reprogram your subconscious. You must speak and think a different language to perceive a different world. Take active responsibility for the world around you. We may have never been programmed this way intentionally, but Psych-K can help you take control of what is in the program you are running yourself. Remember that the ego serves a purpose, but do not take its messages seriously. Do not believe everything you think. And lastly, a great way to serve the greater good is to change your own thinking. All right. So there it is. So thank you, everyone. Doesn't look like we have any questions. So thank you and have a great day.